You're here with Lille Gruber.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure I get that right. And thank you again for your time. And this has been for Thursday night. You know, with COVID, with everything in the pandemic, people are coming to shows, and
Yeah.
I hope this continues and doesn't stay like a trend. Tell me your thoughts about the first night and just what it's like playing after a few 2 years.
It was like that aspect wasn't even that. I don't know. I didn't feel much about that. It was awesome, of course. I mean, I was totally happy to finally get back on stage. But I was more worried about the band is like brand new with a brand new guitar player and brand new set, and the set is really tricky. And we had only 2 rehearsals together, so it was a little bumpy today. So, but I totally enjoyed it, and especially with this great turnout and then the great support here at the merch table. And I love being back and even seeing the other bands and shit. It's grand return.
We miss it. And I've noticed that for the past few years that there hasn't been a main guitar player, Justin and Dan, on the side. So has that just been like coincidence, or is that how you like to do things with the band in terms of members and session members?
No, we what we want to find is a full band member.
Permanent. Right?
Yeah, it's just it will just be so much tighter and just more unified, like a unified entity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And working with session musicians for this stuff is very, very harsh. Like I feel we're in that stage right now because we haven't played with Justin a lot, and I feel if we like with Christian, the old guitar player, we played for about 14 years, so you can feel that, you know, you can feel that in the music, and we hope that Justin is just gonna be the guy, you know. The thing with Dan is over.
Okay.
And we're now like, I think he's doing a great job, and we hope we can keep. We'll probably get along great and everything.
So just tell me, I found out shockingly, you started the band. You were in the band at 11, 12 years old, if I'm told correctly.
Yeah,
that's very unusual, you know, and that's something that a lot of children of any kind of genre is not around for. So tell me, how did you get started into brutal music? Even at an early age, did you see things differently? Were you brought to the information different? Just tell me about your experiences very early with very brutal music.
Well, very brutal music. I guess the first very brutal experience was Slayer for me, because all the other stuff wasn't even around. Like I literally, when I was 6 years old, I started with Metallica, Megadeth, Testament, only thrash. So I didn't know any death metal, and then Slayer came, and that was the most brutal thing I've ever heard. And I've been a fan of all these bands, but Slayer, just the evil, fucking merciless sound, just impressed me the most, probably. And I don't know, a few years later came Death, Obituary, and I don't know, the old school death metal bands, and then I don't know, the next step I guess would be Cannibal Corpse, and then Sappho and all that stuff. So yeah, it was a build up. I really enjoy how I kind of always build up, and I kind of enjoyed having lived in a time and been a metal fan in a time where there was no blast beats, and actually there was no death metal, you know. So it was, I don't know, it was fun for me. It was like a build up.
And I found out that you actually write a lot of the material in Defeated Sanity, not just the drums, but the guitar. So what do you write most of the music in the band?
Yeah, I do.
Wow. So what is that like, the contrast between why not just do guitar? Are you more comfortable as a drummer, or you play guitar just for the parts to write, but to perform it's the drums? Tell me the contrast between both instruments that you do.
I don't know how it came. I just started playing both of these instruments, and at a very early age. And I don't know, I was just always interested in the whole, like the interplay of these two instruments, and of course the bass and the vocals. these four instruments basically, and I don't know why I can't find a drummer instead of. I don't know. Like sometimes I also think it would be easier. You know, I'm writing the stuff, and if I could find someone that I don't know satisfies me as a drummer, then it would be so much easier to complete a song. You know, and just jam. You have an idea, and you can just throw it to a drummer, and I don't know. Right now, I'm writing everything out first. The song is completed, and then I go into the rehearsal room with a backing track, that I record the guitars or just play along to the guitar profile, and then it feels a little bit, I guess, lonely or something. But I don't know. I just can't. I think my style as a drummer is just so distinct at this point that it's hard to find a replacement that checks all the boxes.
And speaking about drumming, as metalheads, it's like a language. When we hear things over time, things become more and more clear about, what you're listening to. And the past 3 years, maybe, drumming has opened my eyes more to drumming than I ever have in my life. Now I pay attention to the drums more than other things. So I'm trying to learn more about, theory in terms of how drumming, will accent guitar parts and vocals together. Tell me about, you said your distinct style. How would you describe your drumming style?
That's hard to say. I'm just taking a lot from not metal drummers and not metal music, and I feel I just use a lot of non-typical elements, whereas most people now, especially nowadays, really go for the crazy speed with the double bass. I don't even work on that. And I don't know. Recently I was faced with a situation, for example, where I got offered a job to do a session for a bigger band, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that double bass, the clean and because I don't work on that. So I work on funky, fusion-y, jazzy stuff, or proggy ideas, or. I just work on other stuff than other people.
When you say other drummers or other side metal, anyone in particular that stand out for you, or that you hone or recognize? Who are those drummers that you were mentioning?
It's tons. I always say my favorite drummer is Tony Williams. Old jazz guy, and all these old jazz guys, or any jazz guy that's really good at it, what they're doing is always an influence. I like that craft. And then, I don't know, then you name it, Dennis Chambers, Dave Weckl, or Billy Cobham. Nowadays, I like the newest drummer for Animals as Leaders, Matt Garska, very good drummer. Like it a lot. And of course, Sean Reinhardt, rest in peace. That's the one that brought this kind of stuff into death metal first, I guess. And that's the stuff that kind of inspires me a lot.
Do you have thoughts? Have you heard Ulcerate before?
Yeah.
Have you heard the Dirt drummers, Jamie St. Murat?
Sure. Yeah.
Any do you I just, for my personal opinion, I think that's probably as good as it gets. The stuff that he does, I've never heard anyone do before. At least as a drummer to a drummer, can you at least describe that kind of style, or just someone when you hear a drummer, what do you pay attention to, and what do you believe matters when you hear this kind of drumming, this next level of drumming?
Yeah. With him, he kind of checks different boxes than I do. So he's doing a little bit of the grooves with that are more the groovy stuff, but I think he's more professional with the really fast blast beat stuff and double bass stuff. So I don't know. He's kind of similar in a way to me, but he's going more for the traditional drumming than what I go for,
Okay.
But yeah, he has some of the
Yeah, this thing is like a da 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 da. He does certain like things with the snare and what's timing with the hi hat.
Dynamics and
Yeah.
what most metal people don't even look into.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was fascinated with the Disposal of the Dead, the Dermata record. Not many bands will do a 2 EP, completely different music like styles together. And it's maybe a good thing because a lot of people would maybe try that, and it would, over time the height of it would wear down. Everyone would do it. So it's great that it's a unique thing. I've never heard a band really do that before.
I was totally aware that that's unique. When we came up with the idea, I was really happy that that we had that idea, because I agree it's not been done before, and as I told you, I'm very inspired by a broad variety of musicians and music, and we all are, all of us. Like Jacob also listens to all kinds of different music, and I don't know. So we just like, one thing that we really liked is the old late 80s, early 90s prog bands, and fusion bands like stuff like Spastic Inc., Watchtower, and of course Cynic and Death and Atrocity. And
you heard Spiral Architect?
Yeah, also good.
Yeah,
also great.
Similar. I think it's what I think of initially. Yeah.
People always how do they always what do you call it?
Recommend or
no? They always compare Dharmata to that. Yeah. So we were listening to that a lot. So we decided at one point, hey, let's do something like that, because it's still technical, like Defeated. But let's just do something crazy and basically split our style in two. So the other side is completely cavemanish, just brutal and ultra fast and grindy, And for example, no solos there, And then the other is doing that Death Watchtower type inspired stuff.
Max Phelps sounds a lot like Chuck at times, doesn't he?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, in a compliment, in a good way.
Yeah, I saw him with Death to All, and I was blown away. So that's how I was choosing it.
I went to the very first show they did. We played in San Francisco. We drove for that, and Gorguts opened, and that was one of the greatest sets I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That was great. And so talking about the contrast in both the two EPs, as answer my other question with it, it's hard to make really dynamic, brutal music. And so what are the keys? It can't just be, the drums have to do a certain part and the guitar has to be something different. What is it like in your head and your heart and just in general, knowing what you want to do for yourself to make sure that you stay just as interested as you want the fans to? How hard is it to make quality, memorable, brutal music?
It's very hard, kind of. I don't know. I don't even go by these things anymore. Like let's make a part like this, write a slam. For me, it's almost like also theoretical ideas and just like original musical concepts. And for example, a certain interesting syncopation, that I'm thinking of, and I was like, okay, that's gonna make a great riff. And it's really about musical ideas where I think other bands just form and say, okay, we gotta write this slam riff here, or I don't know, maybe the dissonant bands go like, oh, let's go like write this chord
inverted,
because everybody's doing it, and I don't think in that kind of,
And also, like, there's a group of bands that's like, I talked with Eric of Geigen a few years ago, and I mentioned a certain group of bands, and he described them as off the beaten path, like the different, travel a different road, like Augury, Lakeithia Flame, Anata, Beyond Creation, like Model of the Well, like those kind of, Gorguts, and just that kind of style of just it, like this very different. There's so much color and different textures within like this, like songwriting parts. And I mentioned like in the Sanguinary Impetus, the newest record, there was parts where the guitar would do a certain staccato, and the drums would do like match it with this like upbeat, just very different like textures and
counterpoint, if you want.
Right.
So classical music is also a factor for us,
Just about that kind of style with those bands, and I would consider your drumming style and the style overall to be that kind of different. What do you personally see either in your like with either colors you see or your ideas? Like, how do you start writing? I guess like what do you do? What is the actual writing process of like? How does it come up? They can't. You just said it's not just let's make a slam riff. I agree, it's not like that. So what is it actually like? Theoretically be able to create this, and what are you just I don't know, what do you look at or think about?
I don't know, it's just a vision of an arrangement, and sometimes it goes along with a vocal pattern or something. It's just a vision, and it's always kind of constructed on the guitar, or I'm fucking around on the guitar and then like, oh man, that was weird, and and then it's like I'm really just looking for outstanding ideas, and then I don't know, then you've got a great riff. For me, everything starts with the great riff, Sometimes I don't even care if if I see a great band that has great riffs, the drumming doesn't even have to be great. So for me, everything starts with the riff, and just I don't know if like Propelled, for example, it has the it's like sometimes it's just a certain idea, and so it's just the sound was the idea there.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Yeah, those are the questions I like to really dig deep, and really pinpoint like of those matters. And so with the ideas you say you mainly write. So like with Josh and everybody. So what do Jacob? What do they do in terms of the writing parts? Do they like contribute with tempo arrangements or tempo like slow down riffs or actual riffs? What do they help contribute with you, and what are like their musical writing roles?
Okay, with Josh, we were writing the lyrics for the last album together, pretty much 50-50.
Okay.
So in there will be a few vocal patterns that Josh comes up with where he's like, okay, that could line up with this lyric. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's so I'm basically, yeah, so that's where he gets into the vocal patterns. And then with Jacob, most of the times it's he's supplying riffs. He's like, he has ideas and he sends them to me, and then I'm building a song out of them or using them in a song.
And with Justin, with the hopefully future writing coming up, you'll have another guitar player, and he's a really great one, by the way, doing double duty every night. That needs to be recognized.
Yeah, we're not there yet, but. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just a few other questions again. Thank you again for your time. So we're hoping that the shows will be like this. It'll stay this strong with fans.
I mean, yeah, this was a Thursday. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's gonna stay great.
What do you like for as long as you've been all the bands and you start such an early age? I'm hoping this stays. It's not a trend. It's not like just a bump. I want, for the love for all this of what we do. What do you feel venues and fans in general, what's a good way to just make sure that people can constantly go, a little bit, just, I don't know, any tips or anything that you think would really help with maybe the new way things are with technology, with the new way people feel about, I don't know. I'm looking for ideas,
I don't have many ideas for other people because I feel metal is stagnating a little bit almost, like in a technical sense. Not like everybody's getting faster and I don't know, everything sounds cleaner, but the ideas for me were sicker in the early 90s, for example. I don't know, but I don't know. I worry about myself more. You can't teach anybody to write something outstanding. It's people that have the outstanding ideas. I don't think they need any teaching, or like any advice. They'll find it. You can just teach someone to have, you use this kind of equipment and you practice your rudiments. But the real deal for me is people that invent new things and new ways and innovate, and so I really those guys will pop up and will have nothing to do with me.
Okay. Do you have any certain, like, quote unquote rules in terms of when you make the music together and when you come up with ideas? Is there a certain, like, rule or something you really keep in mind when you make your music, like, and you come up with ideas, either, it has to at least stay like brutal in a certain way, or is there certain, it has to be? It's
got to be brutal death metal.
Okay.
Always. If I want to do something else, then I'm going to call it something else from now on. Like, Dharmata was an exception, and we're writing more like that, but we're going to call it Dharmata.
Oh, okay.
And Defeated, for me, the next album is going to be a lot more straight, and I want to be in your face, brutal.
And my last question, we talked a little earlier about your work with Engaging Oblivion with the previous record, Visions and Sympathy of the Light. And I believe you have Florian's vision of that kind of metal and death metal. Again, that's the same thing I said of like the Anatas, the Auguries, the differentness. I'm blown away by not only your performance in that, but for his work all these years. And now he's doing lead vocals now and everything. Yeah. And just talk to me about your experience, in the band, and what does he do that makes that? Like, I'm still trying to describe it and trying to learn more about it.
Yeah. I don't know. He's been interested in outstanding ideas since he's been basically doing this weird stuff since very early. If you know of Trees and Orchids, you should check them out, because it's already kind of the outline of the style is already defined there with that, and I think he's just been doing it better and better. That's the thing.
How did you get involved? How did you did he contact you? Were you interested in it, or how did that come to be?
It came to be with through our old vocalist Connie. He knew him pretty well, and he actually had projects with him. They were from the same area in Germany, and we started knowing each other, and then he asked me, "Hey, can you play on this album? Just session job." So I'm not a full member of the band, always just doing sessions.
So if they ever tour, you won't be a part of that?
No, not tours. Thinking about getting those songs back into my head is a little bit scary.
Did you write at all of the material, or did you write any of the stuff?
Everything.
You wrote?
Yeah. I don't write that. I'll just play to it and something comes out. I don't write anything when I'm doing, and he doesn't either. He wants me to really play over
because that's how you come up with it. Okay, great. Yeah. And so
organic.
just any last words? Anything you'd like to say for the first day of the tour, first great night, and a lot more to come up, and Anaheim tomorrow, my home place.
Yeah.
Just anything you'd like to say for anyone coming out, and the rest of the tour and the rest of the year?
If this gets released soon, then please all come out to the shows, and be as supportive as these San Diegoans, because that was insane. I've never seen a line like this for merch. Have you ever seen that before? Have you had that before?
In bigger cities.
Yeah.
Chicago,
Yeah.
Austin.
Well, because usually I'm never at the merch after.
Yeah.
But yeah, today it's like, yeah. So keep supporting like that, and we'll be fucking rich. Ready for.
Because rich.
Ready for, I don't know.